country starts early. It works hard. It stays focused. It keeps moving. It stands ready. And it carries the weight. Strong coffee for a strong nation.
Welcome everybody back to the Beyond Impossible with me and James Salsido Paranormal.
That's
Fighting
right.
with Rumble
As soon as I can
again.
click on the unmute button, I'll be here. There we go.
Fighting with Rumble again.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Yeah, she is. Uh-oh. Now it's got one viewer. Why? Come on. It wants me to stream all these hours, but it don't want to work.
Yeah, I love technology.
And I want a cup of coffee. Well, as you should. As you should need a cup of coffee. What's up? What's up? Oh, my goodness. It's always something. Especially with Rumble.
Yeah.
Come on. It don't say. It says it's connected. But it shows it's not. It's not. Oh, there it goes. It's degraded again. I guess it might be too many people at one time. That'll drive me crazy. I want, like I said, they want me to stream all these hours,
Yeah.
but does not want to work. Oh, wait a minute. It says connected. Yeah, if y'all listen to Rumble, y'all need to get you on y'all's ball here.
Technology and time zones can both be tricky.
Yeah. What's up? At least YouTube and Twitch and on the X should be going. Stupid. Hmm. But we ought to have a good one. We got Jen, the Arcane Observer, going to be here in just about 20 minutes. How are you doing today, James?
Doing okay. I had a lot of time to rest today that I wasn't planning on having. Um, Thought I was going to be going to a family gathering, and the weather said no. You're staying home. So I stayed home. Um, so yeah, I had a lot of time to just relax and rest today, and yeah, so just glad to be here. And like I said, we had a little time zone misunderstanding with times and everything for getting here for everyone, but that happens. I was gonna tell Ricky before the show started here. I didn't get to. I There was one time I was going to have two or three people, ended up being two, on my show from different time zones, and I had who ended up being there was Rohan from the Exiled Minds podcast, who sadly is no longer with us in the physical world. But so I had him, and he's in the UK. He's in the UK, and then I had Matt Sowell, who was in the West Coast in Pacific time. So we had three, and then she didn't get to at the time, but Jen was going to try to join as well. So we had 3 to 4 people in different time zones, each in a different time zone, trying to figure out a time for the show, and then try to get there. And yeah, it was crazy. It worked, but it was complicated because we had to be like, okay, what time you want to do that? That time? Yeah, okay. What's that time for here? And just it was tricky.
Mm. Yes, Rumble is fighting me today.
Mm.
Yeah, just it happens with time zones and everything. I know I got busy. I was sitting there. I got one of them big Connex containers delivered, and then I cleaned up, did a bunch of moved a whole bunch of trees from my parents this weekend, and then let's make sure this thing's doing right. Loaded my 14-foot dump trailer up twice, and then we loaded up a 20-foot dumpster, and then I brought it back, the skid steer thing, brought it back over here, and I turned around and then today I moved my container, got it where it wanted to, put it leveled, and went to the hardware store and did some cleaning up, and
Wow.
I've been busy. About I think 5:45 or something like that, 6. I actually sat down and started trying to set all this up.
Yeah, that's a lot to do. And then setting all this up is not simple either. So,
And that,
but
and then fighting with the rumble, fighting with the
yeah,
rumble. I'm gonna have half a dozen shows here on the same thing here. It's got 3 of them now. This is aggravating. Like I said, I gotta
yeah,
have so many hours, and now let's see, I gotta stream another 14 hours on Rumble through Rumble Studio, and hours watched. I need another 55. Which, if I could stream, I could get it.
yeah, yeah. That'd be
Guaranteed, easy.
yeah.
And I got to the end of the week. In the end of the week,
Wow. Yeah. It's
says
been
it's
ki-
connected.
it's been kind of quiet around here as far as paranormal stuff. Haven't had really too much. Had some minor sounded like someone was kind of either walking around or moving around a little bit in my front entrance area, a little bit here or there, a couple times, just really faint, uh, but nothing major. So,
Mm.
but and then just the usual weird dream stuff. So it's always fun.
Yeah, I had a weird dream today. It was sitting there, and I seen um, one of my friends that I watched one of my friends just turn into like we were on a video call, but it was kind of like I was watching it, and then turn around. I guess I'm gonna have to just end for a little while. I'll try back in a second, I guess. But and man, he turned around and drove off in a ditch. I was like, oh no.
Oh, jeez.
And it was kind of wild. I was trying to get over there to him, and then stuff. It was like stuff was stopping me from getting over there. It was just random weird stuff. And I think I finally figured out that what it was.
Yeah, that's good. It's always something.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
But yeah, I haven't been. I've been thinking a lot about my own experiences lately because I've been doing a series of shows with Jen where I talk about my experiences and she comments on them. And it's been kind of weird going back. 'Cause I've noticed whenever I do that, whenever I think about them again, sometimes even though I've told these stories and thought about these things over and over and over again, new thoughts will come up from retelling them or rethinking about them. And it's
Mm-hmm.
really weird how that works because you'd think it's something that had happened years and years ago, and you've told the story about it, you know, dozens of times probably at this point, and but still, new things come up from it and new connections here and there, and so it's really weird how that works.
Absolutely. And the more you kind of mess around and do stuff, um, and then you never know. It's just sometimes we do it in classes sometimes and everything. We for training and stuff, sometimes you turn around and just one day it clicks. Like, oh, this makes sense now. Like, I never could get this move. I can never do this right here, um, and then all of a sudden, boom, you can do it. Is it finally everything blinds together, and then sometimes when they even like, other things like that, they finally, um, whatever piece of the puzzle finally pops up, it finally clicks, and everything makes sense all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yep. That's it's like with writing too. I have this paranormal science fiction book I've been working on and off for like 3, 4 years, and I went through a good chunk of that time not working on it because I just didn't know what I wanted to do or what I felt like where it should go. And just the last month or two or so, just all of a sudden tried it again and started working on it, and everything just fell into place. And it ended up being a completely different kind of story than I thought it was going to be. And so it is. It's the mind and the connection to everything else around us is just it's pretty complicated.
Oh, I bet. I've been showing. I had to do my premium stuff on Rumble, and I've been showing some interesting videos. I did the Billy Meyer story and his UFOs and prophecies and stuff like that. It was pretty neat. And and then I did some. What else did I do? I forget.
We've had some recent events that sort of an intersection of UFOs and politics, and I hate politics, but there's been some recent stuff that's been happening that I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, or it's kind of hard to talk about the UFO stuff without the politics stuff, but
Right. Yeah, right now it
also,
is
you
because
know,
of the situation going on. Yeah, we can. I'm always down for. It's I don't know. It's one of them things that kind of makes me wonder, like like what we've been saying. I've been saying on the talking with conspiracy kind of thing. They're throwing this out there for. There's a reason they're throwing it out here for.
yeah, and
Um,
yep,
and it's not for just we're gonna this is gonna be great.
yeah, and
This is what we're doing right.
it's not to validate anyone out there that's had experiences or no, I highly doubt that. I just they won't do
Mm.
anything like that unless it works well for them, and I don't think they care about most people when it comes to just about anything really. So why would they care about that when it comes to people that have had experiences? So that's
Absolutely.
that's my view on all this, and that's I've been joking about it over on the Trouble Minds server. I was saying that oh I'm sorry I've lost the rest of my sight because of the shiny object that they're putting out there in front of everyone lately. There goes last of my vision. It's all gone now. Uh, but
Yeah, I sure think it's showing up a distraction on what they're using it for, and they want absolutely kind of cover up what's going on, and there's so much stuff going on at one time. It's
hmm
crazy right now. I don't know if you see anything happening down in Mexico, but they're tearing stuff up down there right now.
mm,
And then one of the biggest cartel leaders, something like that, got killed, and now it's World War III down there.
mm,
And then
yeah,
you got Iran, and you got all this other stuff, and all of a sudden like aliens, and um, I don't know. It's funny to see. It's kind of funny to see the whole situation. But I've been seeing a few videos getting ready for Wednesday. Let's see what I got here.
and I think they tried to do the same thing, in like 2017, 2018, all that time. I think that's what all that was about too. It just they package it differently, or they use the media to put it out um, instead of the
Hmm.
government directly. But I think it was the same kind of thing. I really do. Because I mean,
Mm.
look at what everything that happened after that. 2020, 2021. I'm not going to
Yeah.
go into it because it's all negative stuff, all not paranormal. But you know,
I got a good video here. I think you'd be interested in this. It's kind of neat. Let me play this real quick. I know it was making sound and stuff, but I forgot to update my.
It's not only a UFO library.
Hmm.
It's about the unknown.
So how many countries do you have files from?
Ooh, I don't know. I have no answer to that, but we have Japanese files, for instance, and Russian files.
Wow.
And they went out in the field and brought back debris
What?
from this crash object. They were standing on the other edge of this carriage, and they had very tight helmets, small heads, and some gloves. She was 8 meters from them.
Meet Klaus Svahn, journalist, author, and one of the world's most impressive UFO researchers. He's a real-life Swedish Fox Mulder, and that's because he's basically in possession of the modern X-Files. I'm not kidding. Since the early 1970s, Svahn has not only reported on the phenomena for Sweden's largest newspapers, but he's spent decades building, organizing, and preserving what is widely recognized as the world's largest UFO archive, the Archives of the Unexplained. This 16-room building houses detailed witness reports, photographs, audio recording, radar data, video, and original first-generation documents that no longer exist anywhere else. Time travel? There's a time travel section? What is this, Brown and Burridge? Brown's and Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to Eureka, California.
Uh-huh.
I met with this guy in his garage. We packed it all together and sent it back to Sweden. Behind you here is the oldest UFO group in the world, Borderland Science Research Association.
What? There's something very interesting about them. They were new more than intelligence in certain cases in the 40s. In this episode, we go over a half-century of overlooked evidence. Radar-tracked objects executing impossible right-angle turns. Military helicopters nearly colliding with wingless craft. Sonar and radar returns, and of course, covert European UFO crash retrieval operations. We discussed the Swedish ghost rocket craze of the 1940s, a swarm of at least 1,400 documented rocket and cigar-shaped UFOs descending on Norway and Sweden, never landing on the ground, always plunging into water. A swarm that even caused the Swedish government to form a specialized military unit, and American President Eisenhower to send his top general James Doolittle to investigate. Klaus Svahn isn't just an archivist. He's a field investigator in his own right, interviewing experiencers and witnesses at the very center of UFO history. He spent a lot of time with Betty Hill of the famous Barney and Betty Hill 1961 abduction case in New Hampshire. Everybody knows about this canonical abduction story, but Klaus dug a little deeper and found out that Betty, outside of her abduction, witnessed a UFO crash near her home. She even recovered the debris, which she went on to bury in her backyard, where it still might be to this day.
I usually say that we are standing at the very top of a mountain of knowledge today.
Yes.
But the mountain is resting on this mountain that is even bigger,
Yes.
that is moving into the future.
This episode is one of the hardest core summaries of evidence for UFOs I've ever heard.
When you speak to other people, have you seen anything unnatural? Yes, but I don't want to talk about it. Yes.
I brought my buddy Amar Kandil from Yes Theory to the archives, and we had a blast. What is your top UFO photo? Without further ado, please enjoy this week's Swedish alchemist, Klaus Svahn.
Ignition sequence start. How is this possible?
Nothing too unusual about that. Its existence cannot longer be denied.
That's a lot. That's amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty cool. That's a lot of information right there.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I'd like to do, like in person work like that. If I had the resources, I'd be just all over the place doing that all the time. Um, you know, but since I can't, that's what I do is I just go online and I find things and share them and it's a lot of fun when you can go and anyone can do this. By the way, doesn't have to just be me. If you go on to websites, I use Reddit a lot, but it's easiest to do. But yeah, it's all there. It's just that it doesn't get publicized a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely. What's up, Indy? Appreciate you being here, and thanks for the link drop. Uncle Dave is in the house. He coming.
Hey Ricky, how you doing?
Good,
Is that
good.
James on as well?
Yeah,
Yep.
James is here.
Awesome. How you doing, James?
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna waiting on still waiting on Jen. She's gonna come up on a little bit and start dropping some good stuff. Uncle Dave had his first time Troubled Minds call in the other day, which was I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah.
Glad I'm finding these things. I'm really always have been into this kind of stuff. It's nice to find some podcasts with people who you can relate to.
Absolutely, absolutely. And talking about all kinds of different things, and it is fun. Yeah, I'm glad you were able to get on there and get on and talk, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I found that subject quite interesting because it seems to be, goes way back, right? Because we were talking about as far back as the 70s with the record playing and all that kind of stuff. And here we are again, and then 40, 50 years later, we're still kind of in that same path of identifying things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everything repeats.
Yeah, everything for sure. Music, hairstyles, clothing, everything just kind of rolls around, and funny how it works that way.
Yeah, it even goes to the whole again back to the UFO topic. It does. There's cycles and cycles of this is going to be the big announcement, the big disclosure, and it happens and then it fades away and then it happens again and meanwhile there's people still having experiences and but they're not supposed to talk about it. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that does keeps on going.
I got the picture. I got the Giorgio. I'm not saying I told you so, but I told you so. he actually that was on his Twitter account. He posted that one. It was very funny.
Wow. Yeah.
You
He
see that
shared-
they're going to release the UFO files?
They're going to
supposed
release
to.
something. They are. It might be a huge distraction on what's going on in the world right now, but they're going to release something. They might. I've been thinking it was before. I got cats outside the house fighting. Where the suckers come from? I seen a couple the other day when I went outside, and then I seen a couple big cats. So it sounds like a couple ain't happy outside.
You never know. Quick sidetrack here. I heard two cats screaming at each other one time years ago here in my apartment complex. behind my place, and I thought, oh man, there's a cat fight going on outside. And I went and look outside, and there's these two cats just laying all sprawled out, relaxed on the patio, on the cement patio behind my place, just looking at each other, looking around, screaming. It's like
Hmm.
I thought you two were at each other's throats, and you're just laying there, like screaming at each other for some reason, and not touching. That like they were a little ways away from each other, just laying there and screaming. It's like, wow, okay,
You never know. They sometimes cats do some crazy stuff. I said I don't know who's outside. I ain't going out there and mess with them though. I might
yeah.
mess with a get done streaming. I might pop out there and look around.
But no, I wouldn't be surprised if more half or more of those whatever documents get released are just white pages with a black rectangle filling the entire page.
Oh yeah,
Here you
they've
go.
done it before.
Yeah,
They've absolutely done it before.
yeah,
Where they just redacted everything and everything was just and I don't know what the point of it was. Like what is the point of sending this out? Like
yeah.
I guess saying we did it. See, we put something out, which was
Right.
nothing.
When I used to get my security clearance reports back, um, after they go out and interview everyone, you're entitled to get your record, of the investigation. And I cannot tell you how many of those pages are nothing but black lines, except for maybe like my name, and it'll say Fort Bragg and my name. And that's even more annoying because now you're like, okay, who was saying what about me? Because this is personal, you know?
Yeah, really.
If they haven't made a meme yet of just a page that's all one big black rectangle in the middle of the white page yet, I'd be very surprised because that should be a meme somewhere.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, they did. Some of the Epstein stuff. They did actually unredact some of it and everything, but most of the time they do. They send a lot of stuff out. They declassify all this stuff, and then they get all this black marks on everything. It's all the points of it really shouldn't be covered up. Especially with that list. But
Well,
even
why make it unclassified if you're still going to redact it?
I,
yeah,
yeah, exactly. If they're not going to do right, don't do it at all.
Right.
yeah. If it's just redacted landed at redacted and redacted came out and then it's just like okay, we get what you're going towards or what you're getting at. However,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah, it's. I don't know. Maybe we'll get some truth out. Which I know they said something about talking about with the UFOs. Like it won't be. There were. I heard some of them say it was that Area 51 really wasn't the real area. Which a lot of people talked about that for years. It really wasn't. Even Bob Lazar was said that it was S4. The substation. Sub place, not substation, I guess you'd say, but subgroup over there, and yeah, it's pretty wild to see it maybe all come out. And I'm kind of like I like to see it, and I want to see it, but at the end of the day, it's like, they're gonna, it's gonna be a bunch of junk when they actually
yeah,
do it. I really do think it's just gonna be a bunch of junk. And it's nothing gonna be really come out of it. But I have a little glimmer of hope.
I'm glad you do, Ricky, because when it comes to them, I don't.
Yeah, I
But
don't have much. It's
yeah,
barely getting by.
Obama Did you see the interview that they posted about him and what he said over the weekend? I guess
Yeah,
he.
yeah. I seen. He said he said some classified information saying that UFOs, aliens were real or whatever, and
Right.
uh, uh,
He tried to retract it as soon as he said it, but once you let the cat out of the bag, there was no going back. Once you
The
say
thing,
aliens are real,
the thing that gets me about that is though just saying that, oh yeah, aliens exist. Okay, people have been doing that for years. How is saying that, unless he's giving specific details, how is that, um, anything classified when, you know, I just don't, I don't get that. And to me, it just seems like more politics, more, you know, theater overall.
yeah, but he was the president who was read in on stuff.
Yeah,
So if he was read in on anything of that nature and it was classified and you acknowledged it, then there's that gray area of, well, you know the truth and you just signed a document that said you'd never say that, and now you
right.
just said it.
Okay. Huh.
Right, that's the paper trail. So is there a paper trail that says he was read in on it, signed off, and still accidentally or whatever said what he just said?
Hmm.
good question.
Yeah. That's why he should have stuck with his old statement. I can neither confirm or deny that.
Yeah,
Right.
he covers his ass when he does that way. But
Right.
what he said the other day was just, oops.
Oops. And nothing will come out of it.
No.
Yeah, no.
I read here, so it says Trump was briefed on Nordic and gray aliens. So the tall whites are real now.
Uh-huh.
I bet Stephen Greer's running around jumping up for joy.
Probably.
Not surprised they would read them in on that because normally stuff like that, they don't want to read them in on it because they have plausible deniability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they even put that kind of thing into the first Independence Day movie.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, those
Area
CIA guys.
51.
Sorry, go ahead,
Yeah,
James.
no problem. Yeah, Alien Area 51 existed in that world, and it was about aliens.
Right.
And but the president wasn't informed about it at all, literally. And it wasn't just a case of him covering up. No, he actually did not know. And he asked the people, one of those people, why didn't I hear about this? And that was exactly it. Plausible deniability. That was literally what was said.
Yeah, the CIA knows way more. I guess maybe nowadays NSA and CIA, those are really the two organizations that know the dirt, everything, and they decide who gets to see it. I mean, the president can see the
Mm,
DLJ stuff and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But some of the other stuff, the way they classify it within those organizations, they decide who gets to see it.
right.
Which is scary because you have no idea what they're hiding, right? Because even the most trusted people in the government aren't allowed to see what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we know that people all over the place have experiences with things they can't explain, and I highly doubt that that does not include people in in governments, in military, in intelligence. Um, whether it's part of their job or not. I'd be very surprised if they don't. If some people don't have random encounters and experiences that they then still can't talk about because it's maybe somewhat related to what they've been doing in one way or another, and they still can't talk about it.
Right. Yeah, when I was in Berlin, your first 2 weeks in Berlin, you generally have to go to what, pardon me, it's like School of the Soldier. And it tells you how to conduct yourself within the walls of the city of Berlin and how to interact with the Russians on the other side of the wall and in the guard towers and all that kind of stuff and whatever. And they warn you that if you see guys in the black suits or driving around in those Russian black limousines, right? Get back to a base, get to somewhere, but don't engage with them. Don't let them follow you. Get back to wherever you can get back to. And then there's
Hmm.
places around the city that, gyms or swimming pools or other things that you can go to, right? So I've been in West Berlin for about 9 weeks, and I was going to meet a girl in well, the main train station, and I saw one of those black limos, and I was like, okay, I don't know this chick very well. We just met Friday night, and here it is. And I come down to the main train station, and there's one of those black cars, and I'm like, yeah, I think I'm going to turn around and go the other way. And a little while later, I saw two guys in black suits on the same street I was on. And again, I did another ditch job into somewhere else and got through and back to the gym that we used to go to. Because once I get inside that gate, I'm safe, right? They can't get inside that gate. But, they knew who I was. They knew what my job was. They knew what my security level was. So, guys like me are a prime target. And they probably knew at that time I was going through a divorce and anything else. I mean, they probably knew more about me than the American government at that point in time, maybe. So you become that target of, hmm, let's see if we can get him to sell us secrets.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I didn't think that shit was real. When I first got there, they made us pull guard duty on these German workers building an American embassy. And they said, you got to keep an eye on these people because they throw shit in with the concrete that are electronic devices. So you got to keep your eye on these guys. They these guys are probably all KGB or something like that. They're not just construction workers. You have to keep your eye on these people. So when the U.S. Embassy opened and they did the scan for bugs and everything, that building was so bugged that the only way to have a secure communication in that building was with one of those old toys. You had that black sheet with the wax paper over it or whatever it was, and you had that red wax pencil. That's how you communicated because nobody could see it or read it or. So they would write like, "Oh yeah, let's do this," and show it to the other guy, and he'd like shake his head, and then he'd write back, "Okay, let's do it this way," and then but as soon as they pulled it up, it disappeared. For the longest time, that was like the most secure way to be able to have a conversation inside that embassy. I think they eventually trashed it. They said this building's too far gone. We can't even debug this building to make it usable.
I think that's what they're trying to do. The FBI building. That's why they want to build a new one and everything. What's up, Daryl? In the chat. What's up, Miss Karen Carpenter? Appreciate you being here too. Yeah, Rumble is fighting me today. I'm steadily trying to make it work. If I get a stream going on there, I'll let everybody know. It is. Nothing's working on it. Yeah. Good times.
Yep.
Good times, good times. We're trying. Just a real quick reminder for folks, we do have a very special lunch show tomorrow at 7. That's, good God. It's 2 p.m. Central Time. We do have a special lunch show. It's going to be good. gonna be a great discussion. All the let me pull up his name so I don't butcher his name. Cool. He just emailed me. Cool. Matt Harvey of Deep Woods Paranormal will be here tomorrow, and he just emailed me. Well, no, he emailed me about an hour ago, but I just now seen it. So he's gonna be here. James will be here, of course, and we'll be talking all kinds of paranormal. And I have a feeling at some point I might have just had to get quiet and sit back and let James and and Matt take over the show. Which if that happens, okay. It will be all right.
Yeah, I'm really curious to talk with him. Just because I've never really had the chance to talk with anyone like that in that kind of position much. So yeah, I'm really curious about that as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and yeah, that should be fun.
Yeah, I believe it will. And yeah, I was gonna tell you for sure. Like if you just start hammering questions, but James uh, don't feel bad. Let her rip.
Okay.
Let her rip. I'm not gonna be upset whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah, no, it'll be good, and because it's something I've been to public paranormal investigation events, but I know that's not the same as just the team, just the people, just the investigators there doing their thing. I know it's not, because you have people there that you have to um, sort of entertain and all that. So it's different. I mean, it's still good. I mean, I enjoyed the investigations I went on, the events I went to, but there's two or three or four investigators there with 10 or 20 people. There's going to be all kinds of extra noise or sound just from people moving around, just from nothing intentional, nothing wrong with that, but just from that many people being in one space, the breathing, just the moving, shuffling around, whatever. So, and that's not, so yeah, it's going to be nice to talk to someone that's done that kind of thing without all that going on.
I got Rumble working just as Jen gets here, so I think she's been our good luck charm there on that. And I think Rumble
Let me
waiting
just.
for Jen
Can
to
you
get
hear me?
here. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep.
How is the audio?
That's good.
Is it?
Yep,
Uh-huh.
all set.
Okay, I'm gonna just mute up. I'm sorry I'm running late. I thought for some reason it was at like 8. I don't know why I thought that, but I'm going to mute up just for a second and get settled in and kind of see where you guys are at and catch up. Okay.
All right, no
Yeah.
problem.
And I couldn't get my camera, like I just haven't gotten it set up, and so because I haven't done any kind of podcasting or anything beyond just like visiting with James on Saturdays, so I'll have to get that set up too. But I will, and then like I don't know, share screen and stuff like that. But I don't have any of that set up right now to do that. But that'd be cool for the future.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, whenever you want to come back and you'll be ready for the next time. But yeah, you finally
Yep.
got Rumble working. I'm so happy. Been fighting with this
And
thing for almost an hour now.
just for anyone that doesn't know, Jen is the co-host of my show on Saturdays, and Salsido Paranormal, and yeah, it's always a lot of fun to talk with her and have her on the show, and so yeah, I'm glad that this we finally got this going and it worked out, and because tech issues and time issues, and I think it could have been something on my end too at the time, because for me it is 8 o'clock when it starts. This starts, so it could have been partially my fault too. I have no idea, but yeah, when we're working with time zones, that was kind of what I was saying earlier. It's tricky.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
But yeah, so. But yeah, the whole black vehicle, Men in Black phenomenon to me is fascinating. Whether I think there's probably different situations where, in some cases, it is people from a government, and in other cases, there's other strange things, vanishing, reappearing people or vehicles, uh, where it's not just regular people, in those kinds of situations. Um, I'm very lucky that so far I've never had an experience like that. Um, and it did cross my mind when I had that series of sightings of a blue light in the sky. In one case, two blue lights. But luckily, that never happened so far. So, which I'm grateful for. Although I'd be sitting there trying to, figure them out if it did happen. So, you know,
Well, let's just say I didn't date any more German girls after that. I stuck strictly to American women.
hmm.
I bet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I've seen some. I seen a crazy orb a while back, and I seen. It's crazy. It's funny how it works that way. Usually have your phone on you or something like that, or in the time you don't, and turn it around. As soon as you reach and grab your phone, it's gone. Um,
Yeah.
I seen something that was like weird over my house the other day. I tried to get a picture of it, and I went in, grabbed my phone, come back out, and yep, gone. And it
I
hovered there for a
tried.
while. It hovered there for a
Yeah.
while. It was right above. I was like, yeah, that's not an
Wow.
airplane. Because we got, I mean, I'm so close to Memphis. We got planes fly over all the time. You see planes coming in, and um, that's no big deal. But that one there it was just kind of, it was way up in the sky, but it wasn't like right above my house or nothing like that. But it was way in the sky, but it was, I guess, and technically it was a UFO there. It was unidentified. I don't know what the hell it was. What's up, Wally's World? Brother Wally from Kentucky. Appreciate you, brother, for being here.
Have you noticed how many more incidents there have been since late last year and the beginning of this year of strange lights and objects and whatever in the sky that are just coming in from all over the world?
I think they've always been happening. It just maybe now there's more reports of it.
It could be ramped up, though. I mean, it
Yeah.
might be intentionally ramped up,
Right.
especially with this disclosure we're getting right now.
Oh yes,
But
the
that's
big
my,
disclosure.
my, my conspiracy brain going wild, and for sure. But I mean, it could be just a ramp up.
Yeah,
It
so
would not
maybe
surprise me.
maybe Obama's comment was the setup for it.
Hmm.
It wasn't a Freudian slip or anything. It was actually a leading line, because it's funny how he says it, and then how many hours later we're announcing that these files are going to be released.
It's funny how that works that
Yeah.
way.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah. He's like, all right, you go out there and say this for us, buddy. All right, I got you.
Yeah. It's why I can't stand any politicians, or I barely care what they say. Um, I don't. Yeah. I anyway. The whole thing has me pretty angry. Like I always knew what was going on. They've always been doing that, but I think just with the level of putting it out there to everybody now is, I guess at this one case finally is the thing that slipped through my, I don't know, my defenses or whatever, and got me pissed off, because it definitely has.
I'm with you, Miss
Yeah.
Karen. I'll show it on the screen now. Let's see if we can make it. Come on, there it goes. Uh, yeah, I think it's fake disclosure. I've been saying that for a
Yeah.
while. I really do think it's fake disclosure coming up.
Hmm.
I figured by the end, I said before fall, guaranteed that we will have by the end of summer we would have some kind of BS disclosure and just be a whole distraction. Um,
Yeah.
maybe they're nervous about everything going on right now and they had to speed it up a little bit, and but here we go. Here we go for this ride. Of course, there's, like I said, there's so much crap going on in the world right now, and is You know.
Right.
Yeah, that's why they're doing it. That's why they're.
She said, as if I would ever believe government disclosure. Yeah.
Yep.
Um.
I have a shirt that says, I love my country, but I don't trust my government. And I deliberately wear it to the VA every time I go.
Yeah.
uh, what was that shirt? I got a shirt I got in Cherokee, North Carolina. It was what does it say? It was something, but it's got Indians on there and talking about giving up your about gun control and giving up your guns. See
Oh,
how it
yeah,
works
yeah,
for
yeah.
us. I got a shirt. I had to remember I don't remember exactly how it says, but I wear that sucker every once in a while. I wear that one out, and then I got a fun shirt I wear. uh, I wear to gun and knife shows sometimes. I got an old jiu-jitsu shirt. On the back of it says "I don't need a weapon," and then you walk around. You walk around a gun and knife show with a shirt, and they look on your back. It says "I don't need a weapon." It's pretty. The looks you get is pretty funny, and
Yeah. You
and
want to
the,
know where
and
I bought that shirt?
where's that?
Reagan National in Washington, D.C.
Oh, nice.
in our nation's capital.
Well, that's where it should. I can see that. I mean, a lot of people have gotten to that point right now. There's a lot of people who've gotten to that point where they absolutely love, have a love for the country and a love for, the people and everything else, and just what's going on, what they're doing, and just don't agree.
Yeah, and I think this thing with the cover-ups, once you peel the lid off of the UFO thing, right? And I mean, really pull it off, let's say, and make an announcement of some true definition and impact. Well, now everybody's going to go back and think, okay, what else have you been lying to us about? I mean, Kennedy, Hoffa, this, that, the other thing, Watergate, whatever the case may be, you got files on all this stuff and we know it. So now that you've come clean on this, what about the other stuff? Are you ever going to come clean on that? Or are we just going to have to assume now that moving forward, everything will be transparent?
Which doesn't make sense for them to do that if they know that people would start thinking that way. It is the thing that's, I don't know, or they just don't care or whatever. But yeah, and I mean, like I always say, and I'm gonna keep on bringing this up because I think it's important. If you haven't had a weird experience, paranormal experience, UFO experience, whatever, but you're interested in these things, go look up, websites that have forums that are on these things, paranormal forums, UFO forums, whatever. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff in there that's just talking about current events, and there's going to be a lot of stuff that is actually fiction and all that. But there's going to be a lot in there. When I do my research for my show, every day, 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, I go and I find half a dozen posts from people about their anomalous experiences, and I save them to use on my show. And I never have a problem finding enough posts to do that.
I'll bet not.
I have not ever had a day where I could not find new posts from people talking about their experiences. That has never happened yet.
Well, I bet.
Oh, yeah. And I wasn't into this until the 90s, I guess. And my ex-wife got me into it. And she started talking about MUFON and the people who were involved in it. And you're looking at all these guys, former astronauts, PhDs, and these were highly educated, highly intelligent people in very interesting positions. And you can't go around saying, "Oh yeah, these guys are crackpots," based on what they did in their lives. It's like when an airline pilot says, "Oh yeah, we've seen some things up in the sky, and yeah, it's kind of weird." Well, I'm going to believe that airline pilot.
Right.
Like the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And especially, I know there was there was a pilot in Japan that it whistleblowed and talking about some of the stuff he's seen, and he lost his job. It was like one of them things where you turn around and you say anything, you lose your job,
Yep.
um, and he still come out and said it. So it's like one of them things that makes you kind of reaffirms, like, man, he had to see something, or he wouldn't have just made up some stuff to just to get fired, and or lose face and everything. Especially in like Japan with the culture they have, you don't want to lose.
Hmm.
They don't for sure not trying to lose face over there, and you turn around and you got uh, that man coming up and testifying. I remember that was years and years ago.
Yeah, that was a pilot on that not a JLL flight. It was a cargo flight, and
I think so.
I think it was over Alaska actually, and he even was talking with the ground controllers and even from a military base if they were seeing anything on their radars, and they affirmed that yeah, we're seeing something. And it's like, but we don't have anything up there. There's no military aircraft up there. We're not doing anything, but we do see something on the screens that we cannot account for. And you're right. He
Yeah.
still ended up getting his career ruined.
Yeah, and it's sad to think that that's like that happens where he gets ruined his career and stuff like that, and just trying to come out and say, hey, look, there's something out here, there's something going on, and of course at the time they didn't want people to come out and say nothing like that.
Right.
I still, to the point, I don't think they really do. Still don't want really people
Yeah,
coming
no.
out and saying it. But now they're taking the situation and going to use it and everything.
And I still don't think they're gonna want people or let people, ordinary people, everyday people. They're not gonna promote, the experiences that people may talk about.
Mm.
They're not gonna. I would be very surprised if they did that.
No, what was that? My brain is going nee nee nee.
Uh-oh.
Uh, Betty, yeah, there he
Oh,
is. Betty and Barney Hill.
yeah.
I seen something today. I didn't know it before they turned around and they did a bunch of before they got abducted. They actually had went to a crash site and actually collected a bunch of material, which I
And
never knew that
that's
until recently, until
yeah.
today or yesterday or whenever it was. Um, what's up, Merlin? What's up, Birdhouse? Appreciate y'all being here, and thankfully Rumble is back to rumbling, and we can y'all can actually watch on Rumble. Sorry y'all missed the first 45 minutes. Wasn't up to me.
But yeah, the that is fascinating. I had never heard that before either. That
Mm-mm.
whole case to me, the whole Betty and Barney Hill case, I don't doubt that they saw something, but also the whole hypnosis angle, and then also the way they had so many contacts within the government. I wonder about how much um, has been changed or edited thanks to involvement from people started putting out certain narratives, trying to put out certain narratives about that, and that's really fascinating that they found that, and because that to me, from what I always thought I heard, they were never into that subject before that event happened.
Mm-hmm.
So now to hear that that happened, it makes me wonder, you know, was did I hear wrong? Was that part of one of the narratives that certain people wanted everyone to think that they never had any experience or any interest in all these things? It just makes me wonder about the details on all that and how that factors into everything. So, because again, I don't know. The hypnosis thing, from what I've heard, it's not the best for always retrieving exact memories, especially if the person running the hypnosis, is in any way using leading questions, whether they mean to or not.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's I've listened to some shows where people have talked about that, and they don't think that they're not as interested. The people I listen to that cover these kinds of things that do their own shows and things, they're not as interested in anything that involves any reports that come from anyone who had hypnosis done. And I'm not saying it's not useful at all. I'm just saying it. I think we have to be careful when it comes to what comes out of that.
Yeah, that's been a big tool in that uh, community, though.
Mm-hmm. Huge.
Yeah.
It's happened almost so many major cases. There's been they've had the experiencers have gone through that after the fact, and uh, it's it complicates things, I think, or at least it can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I, yeah, because I guess once if you could truly take the human mind and put it in kind of a suspended state, right, which would be the hypnosis, and then you now can manipulate it, like you're saying, with just a word or two
Hmm.
that would make the mind associate and then come up with that scenario, let's say.
Yeah, and the people may want to. They're trying to be helpful. They're trying to, you know, to to get information out. But while they're doing that, that willingness or that desire to be useful to get information, I think, could accidentally lead to people making things up, which I absolutely hate to say because I don't think we all,
Right.
everyone is doing that with everything. But in that kind of situation, I could see how that could happen.
Right. You
I'm
know that
trying to.
we talked about that Japanese pilot, and I think it was over Alaska, and then triggered what's that called? The Alaska Triangle or something, where like
Hmm.
60,000 people
Mm-hmm.
have disappeared or something.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
there's a.
there's
It's as I
yeah.
was thinking about this the other day. There's so many different triangle places, you know,
Mm-hmm.
around the world. People just talking about. A lot of times there's just the Bermuda Triangle, but um, there's one around around India. There's one, they have one in Alaska. That has had all kinds of paranormal. So there's lots of hot spots all around the world and everything. Um,
Yeah.
it's really interesting to see.
There's one. It's either near Japan or China, as well, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
The dragon. I think it's called the Dragon's Triangle. I'm not sure. I could
Yeah,
be
I
wrong
think
on
it's the
that.
Dragon Triangle. I think you're right.
But what's interesting is they could find stuff in the Bermuda Triangle, but they never seem to find a trace of anything in Alaska.
Yeah. Which you would think would be easier because it's not all water.
Right. Remember a few years ago, somebody crashed there, and they went out and did. He was some senator's son or something. He was kind of a VIP, and they did this massive search, and they were finding things that, crashes from the 50s and people who disappeared, their cars and all this planes that had crashed and nobody ever knew what happened to them. But yet they did this massive search for someone else and they find all this weird stuff.
Hmm.
It's like, you couldn't find that then? Why is it that you could find it now? I mean, you did a massive air search then and it was more focused, but you missed it?
Or was it there at all? And then somehow, again,
Right.
small objects to large objects seem to, and the disappearance or reappearance of objects is a fascinating thing because it happens on a small scale to, like, let's say a phone charger in your home,
Mm-hmm.
to huge scale, which is like parts of planes and things, and entire planes, I'm guessing, where it's just not there, and then eventually it is there. And I don't know that it's. I think there's two different situations here. I'm sure in some cases there is intelligence behind some of these objects, big or small, vanishing or reappearing. But I don't think that's the case with every situation either. I do wonder if there's some kind of natural, what am I saying? Phenomenon, natural energies, natural properties between either this dimension and others, where things just go from one place to another, and we don't know how it works yet.
Right, and I think once we figure that out, that's when you could probably truly see more interstellar um, travel by man, because now we can do what I believe other civilizations are doing that are way more advanced than us, are getting from, galaxy to galaxy. Because when you talk about it from a physics sense, oh, there's no way that could happen. It'd take them 500 years to get here, or whatever the case may be. But they go through these gateways or portals or whatever you want to call it, and they can make that jump between dimensions and galaxies in a blink of an eye, basically, right?
Yeah, so they say.
Yeah. Well, didn't people used to say that black holes weren't real?
I think some people still say that.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now I see Birdhouse in the chat says familiar with a quadrangle, where the college campuses where they would wake up and not knowing what happened the night before, and get a little beer mug. Merlin says vanishing objects can be cycloped, transdimensional shifted, or worse, could be atomized.
Yeah. Yep. Because not all objects that vanish come back. So, and I've found cases of people who have had random objects materialize in their homes or in their environments that did not belong to them. I had one the other day. I found a post from someone who was going into one of their kitchen drawers for something, a utensil, and they just found a pink butter knife, like a butter knife with a pink handle on it. They never owned that butter knife.
That's weird, because I've been going through, because I moved here and I've been here about a year now, so I've been going through all my stuff to see what I want to keep and stuff, because I have so much of it. And I came across these 2 forks that I have no idea where these 2 forks came from. Absolutely no idea how those 2 forks got into my boxes in a storage room. And when I unpacked them, there was these 2 strange forks, because I have like 2 sets, and they don't match either one of them. And I'm like, where in the hell could these 2 forks have come from?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's I'm trying to find that video. I don't know if somebody sent it to me or I was doom scrolling. Driving me crazy, but it was really interesting talking about. I've been trying to find it here, and I wanted to share it, but I guess I'm not going to be able to. It was interesting seeing all the different takes on it, and was talking about a report. It was in Sweden. It was talking about all the, like, had so many reports of like UFOs in Sweden, and then turned around and went in the water, and so many of them was going in the water.
Yeah,
and like
I've heard
none
of
of them
that.
would land on land. None of them, but all of them would actually would. The reports actually would. So it's like either there's some kind of military situation going on underwater, and or they're actually underground, which you hear about USOs all the time, where ships come out of the water, or just lights in the water,
and volcanoes too, which
yes, volcanoes.
Talk about you think water's bad going in and out of that? My gosh, lava. That's a whole different situation there, but there's reports of it.
Yeah, I was watching something about Linda Moulton Howe, I think is her name, right?
Yep.
About Antarctica, and how many, I guess one guy came to her, he was on his deathbed, and gave her some information. And then from there, people just started calling her over the last 20 years. And these are credible people who could prove they were there and all kinds of stuff. And they were showing the unnatural formations in the land mass of Antarctica that lead into tunnels. And one of them looks like a huge flying saucer, for lack of a better word, sticking out of the mountainside in Antarctica now. So she wants to go through and make a documentary based on all this information that she's received from all these people over the years, exposing what's going on in Antarctica as best as she can.
You know, you can't even have internet down in Antarctica. You can't, like, if you come on and have one of them
Starlinks
and stuff, they'll take it from you.
They confiscate it and don't give it back.
Yeah. Well, they'll give it back after it's over with. You know, sometimes I imagine sometimes they can't keep it forever or whatever, but they'll sure take it for you. You know, because they don't want to interfere with the stuff going on there. But I think there's a lot of, you know, if you're actually on the edge or whatever, I think there's got to be something going on down there. You know.
Yeah.
Because it's just too much secretive stuff. Too much, you got to get permission to go there.
Right.
Nobody really runs it. You know, there's no like one nation. There's like, it's just like the certain groups of people, and it's kind of weird.
Yeah, there's maps that were drawn. I don't even know the years, but hundreds of years ago, that actually showed that Antarctica is a lush green continent.
Curry Reese, I think, is it? I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's several maps old, from like they say maybe 1300s or something like that.
Right.
That they think that's when they were done, but if they're from Antarctica was when it was green or something, it had to be from much older.
Yeah. But I don't know. But does anybody know how, quote unquote, old Antarctica is in its frozen state? How many years has it been in that frozen state?
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I say, Jen, whenever you want to pop in, just throw something,
Yes.
just jump in and let her rip.
Yes, please.
You don't have to wait for us.
Yeah, it's just the hidden land theory is really interesting. I've always been fascinated by that. There's the idea that Antarctica is the opening to a lot of land, maybe land as large as our own known planet. There's a whole concept of that. And the war for Greenland, like the battle to take over Greenland, that there's this thaw coming. It's going to, of course, reveal all the resources, but it's a massive amount of land. And it's a good entryway into the rest of this possible unknown part of the planet. There was somebody that pointed out something a long time ago, and I can't remember, like years ago I heard this, that all of the different continents that we have are more like peninsulas of a larger landmass. And it's not quite flat earth theory, but it's more like this concept that there is much more land, and that we are an isolated part of that global view, that it's not quite what we think it is, and that Antarctica is like it's a barrier at this time because of the, for whatever reasons, but that beyond there it is inhabited, that there is more land over there, that they know that it's inhabited by certain people. Supposedly in World War II, that Germany had made contact with individuals. There's the Thule Society, and there's that a lot of that was to do with communication with these people, a type of people that were living in that land way beyond Antarctica, the Arctic, Greenland, so on and so forth, beyond that barrier into another part of the world, supposedly. And that many of the satellite systems we have, the way that they are set up is to get up high enough to send a signal further out, and that even some of the basically like you're going to another planet. It's like that. Kind of like when you go down to Antarctica. It is like being on another planet. It's similar to that, that there are parts of the Earth that are not what we think, and that they are more akin to another planet altogether. It's almost like the bottom of the ocean is obviously uninhabitable by humans, yet it may be active with a lot of intelligence and life forms that are very intelligent and are interacting all the time to some degree. So it throws in a whole wrench of strange ideas like that, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, there's
Admiral
all kinds
Byrd
of.
went there. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Ricky.
No, go ahead. Let it rip, Uncle Dave.
Admiral Byrd went there, a United States Navy admiral, and I think he went twice, but he never was allowed to discuss it, if I remember correctly. That what he saw, what he did. Maybe he was just following up on Jennifer's point there because the Nazis went there, so maybe he just wanted to verify or see from confiscated documents from the Nazis what they had discovered or done down there. I'm not sure, but he was never allowed to speak about it in detail either, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was
they lost a couple ships down there too. They actually took some casualties when
high
they went down
jump.
the mission.
That's what that was. But then there was, I heard that Queen Elizabeth also had sent ships up towards the North Pole, and there were these entire accounts of what they encountered there, and there were maps of 4 different forces of ocean, basically like pushing up into an impassable water pass for them. And at the center of that water map, like the center of where all of those different, all quarters of those flows of ocean were flowing into this all centric place, there was like this great tower supposedly of lodestone. And this is all in like the documents and journals of the people who were doing maps for Queen Elizabeth, where they were talking about things like that. So it's very fascinating to think about that they do, or they are aware of some great throne at the top and the bottom of the earth that is an entryway into another world. Now, you could call this hollow earth theory, people are familiar with that. But beyond that, that there may be just a massive hidden land that has been kind of cut off due to all kinds of natural reasons that could happen that makes it impossible to get there, or very difficult to get there, but could be done, especially with the insight of flight and everything. And some people talk about there's something called NIMSA, which was this whole movement with airships at the turn of the century, and that there was this great breakaway civilization that occurred at that time where a certain amount of the population, almost like going to the moon, how you would send a Mars mission, instead they were sending them more to this kind of hidden land, sort of this other part of the earth, by way of airship, and that they developed a sort of parallel technology to our own. And it was some of the greatest scientists, because the scientists, from in World War II, didn't just come to the United States. They also went to Russia, and there's all these concepts that, and they went to Great Britain. But NIMSA was this big movement for the technology of airship, which they took. They no longer, they admittedly, Led Zeppelin's based off of that, basically. That it came down like a Led Zeppelin, that the type of materials they were using for the airships were not really good to use, supposedly, but they were, very effective at the time, and they said that some of the world fairs were attended by people who were flying there by airship. But I don't know. So there's a possibility that they did have technology, or at one point in time, that there could be some parallel civilization occurring in this fringe idea. But that would insinuate that there's another government or another type of civilization beyond the Arctic or the Antarctic region, and that we're kind of it's not like a prison planet idea, but that we're being isolated, and that's a great secret for many reasons, because it'd be unconquerable and it'd be difficult to terrain, but it'd be a good way to cover up say for the space program, is an ideal way to cover that sort of technology as well as that information.
Yeah, and
So
there's some cases with the airships where the people that are on them, the people that saw them and saw the people that were on those ships say they look strange. They even when they came off of the ships, it looked like they were swimming down. If a rope or an anchor got caught on something, which I believe in at least two cases I remember hearing about, some kind of anchor getting stuck in the ground or in a building, or and in one of those cases, I don't remember the details now of when and all that, but the people that saw this thing said that the people that basically they jumped off of this airship, and it looked like they were swimming through water, but they were in the air to get to the whatever it was that was stuck. And so, I mean, who knows what that is exactly about? If that's, I don't know, some kind of apparition of a huge thing with these people as well, or if it's something physical or not, I don't know. But I've heard about that, and that's to me, it's fascinating.
yeah,
Especially when you think about, what does that mean for the other planets out there in around this one? Like, if that's the case here, if we have these spaces within the planet, around the planet that we're not accessing normally, what else is out there on each of the other planets?
I don't know. We're talking about like a massive, massive cover up, you know,
Hmm.
if that is the case. And a controlling of governments of the mind. The idea, too, just of the governments we do have as they sit, it does feel, the way that they handle things, when the level of weaponry that they trade openly with each other and they buy and sell with each other. And then the information, some people have said that there's an illusion that we are not, that it's not actually all one big conglomeration of information, and that the point of it all is that they might be facing not alien life, but two things can be true at once. You could consider something beyond the ice wall as being a type of alien life. People have made analogies that the GOT, like Game of Thrones, is an analogy for such a thing, and that George R. R. Martin knew about that, and that Tolkien knew about this. But there's sort of this idea of, into the West and so on and so forth, that there's something like that going on. It's a really fascinating concept. One of those ones that you wish was true, but also wonder, what would that insinuate? So you wonder if you're leaning on that, but then there's a lot of things that kind of back it up. You do have Project High Jump with Admiral Byrd. You do have World War II with Hitler. You have that every flag on Antarctica. The concerns about the flight paths, people have mentioned that before. That those are actually following some type of magnetic field of the Earth because they're lying about the way that that's all lining up. A lot of this bleeds over into flat Earth theory, but flat Earth theory would be a perfect sort of controlled opposition if it was just simply that there is a lot more land, you know.
Well, you said hollow Earth theory. I was thinking about hollow moon theory. And now, when I forget which NASA mission it was, when they released one of the modules and it crashed back into the moon, it vibrated and hummed like a bell for like 30 minutes or something. And then the next time that it happened, they really paid attention and listened. And this time it lasted like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
A lot of people believe on the dark side of the moon, there's stuff they don't want us to see, but they know it's there.
Yeah, I was recently re-listening to the books of Mothman Prophecies from John Keel, and that book is so much more than about just the Mothman. By the way, if anyone hasn't read that book, that's like the whole Mothman part of it is a tiny part of the whole everything that is talked about in that book. One of the things he mentions is on one of the nights he was in that area, in that Point Pleasant, West Virginia area, is that he knew when the moon was supposed to come out, and it did not show up, even though there was not a cloud in the sky. And it did this two nights in a row, where it was not visible at all, and he had no idea how or why. And it just makes me wonder. I mean, that just to me adds a whole other layer um, to weirdness with the moon. And I've heard of accounts from people who've said, I've seen the moon, and it seemed to be moving, um, or even there were duplicates of it that appeared in the sky, and then later were gone. So that whole topic of what is out there, and what is it, and how does it work, and all that, and why in some cases do people see extra lights that they think are the moon in the sky, and then why would there not be a moon when there's supposed to be a moon?
There's ancient stories about when before the moon was here. There are stories on that, and
Oh yeah.
and it makes you wonder. And on the hollow Earth and stuff, I wonder on some of that because a lot of our cave systems we don't have not traveled.
Yes.
It's just like our ocean bottoms. We haven't traveled, and there's cave systems that go all the places, and we find these underground cities, and there's a reason behind some of that. I do believe that for sure that there's more to it than just what we've found so far. I mean, I imagine there's more cities that are underground that we probably have found that been covered up, kind of like in the Grand Canyon where they turn around and won't let us get over there because there might be an ancient city from that had the giants and stuff like that in there.
Yeah,
That-
and then there's all kinds of. Sorry, Dave. I'll stop in a second.
No,
here,
no.
But in combination with all that, all the underground caves, all the underground cities, at least the caves anyway, probably the cities too. Just that there's not people there a lot to notice. I wouldn't be surprised, but there's so many reports of creatures, or even in some cases what people think are spirits, ghosts, moving around, coming in or going out, or coming out of or going into caves and cave systems and all that. And some of those are near mountains and some are not. But and the whole mountain aspect of all this is something that there's always seems to be a lot of high strangeness, paranormal activity that goes surrounds mountains and also cave systems.
Yeah. I think. Oh, sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, China apparently is suffering major drought and water shortages, and I guess a lot of their reservoirs have gone down quite a bit. And they're seeing the same thing that we're seeing in the Grand Canyon and some other places around the earth that were under the water for centuries, look like entrances into cave systems into these mountains that got flooded out.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chinese government, of course, shut it down and made it all off limits and everything. But
They're quick about that over there. Like all them pyramids they got over in China, and they just start planting trees on them to cover them up. They do not want, for whatever reason, they do not want disclosure over there. They don't want no part of none of that. Anything over there, it seems that way. Yeah, you see them underground. They've talked about the water level rising. There's so much stuff that's been buried under the ocean. It's right there, probably right off the coast of a lot of places. I wonder, if we were able to, pull the water away. I watched a show like that one time, and they were like pulling the water away and make it look. If you could pull all the water away, this is what you'd see. And like how much would ancient sites and probably other technology, God only knows what all you could find. Absolutely, if you were able to, see what was actually on the ground and underneath there, because you're going to have sediment, especially over thousands of years. You're going to have all kinds of sediment on top of stuff, and there's only so much you can do underground, underwater, archaeological, really.
Yeah. There's a whole weird sort of, another sort of, these side French theories that kind of tie into these things. Like the idea that, say that we were in a completely different, we're constantly moving. through the galaxy as it is, in the way that we are all situated and everything with the center star and the way that we are operating. And our pole stars have changed many times, so our celestial position has been in different positions, and that we have been linked and tied to different center stars. So this kind of goes into the Saturn theory, but in the Saturn hypothesis that the Earth at one point had Saturn as its main star, the brown dwarf, sun sort of mindset. That in that you're talking so far back though, and this would be about the time of the before the moon sort of belief system, but that there was, because of that, no weather as we think of it today, that the sun brought the weather, and that there was no rain, that the waters were coming up like these springs from inside of the earth. And that when that happened, it began to cover, it covered the surface of it. And there's a whole sort of belief system about, with Saturn and its departure as it moved farther away, that when that occurred, that the basically the gateways of the earth opening up and releasing all of this water as we have it now, that those certain portions of the earth were at that point not covered in water. So that makes sense that they became covered up. And I don't know, so it's really fascinating with the flood theory tying into the Saturn myth as well, in that covered up a great deal of systems and also demolished many different types of life forms. And then, but we have a lot of talk about that with, when we talk about dinosaurs or anything like that, about all the different ages of the earth, just taking that into account. They call it the blue, they have the purple haze sort of concept, because the earth at that time would have been bathed in like a plasma shell almost of constant dusk, where it'd just be like this sort of that kind of environment, and that there was no weather, there was no rain, and there was very little wind. And this would have been, there was parts of the earth that were covered in complete darkness, almost like a wall, and that there were things that even lived in that darkness. So I don't know. It's very interesting in the idea of that, of course, the earth is the same earth that we are walking on is it's incalculably, there's not ancient's not even the right word, just that this has been another planet before. It's not always been in this static state, and it will change again. And it's sort of that idea. And then even the moon worship, as we see it depicted, was a part of that age as well, where there wasn't a sun as we think of it. There wasn't a light like we think of it. It was like a twilight age. But humanities have a memory of it. And that's where a lot of these Saturnalia cults come up from. Or why Saturn doesn't matter.
Yeah, that makes me think of what you were talking about yesterday in my show, Jen, with Saturn and now I forget the other planet, but the recent conjunction of planets, Neptune. There we go. I think that's something interesting too. If you want to go into that real quick too.
Oh gosh, yes, we'll go into that. There was a conjunction, Ricky. There was so Saturn and Neptune on the 20th had a conjunction. I'm gonna make this brief for people who are interested in it, because it's something you'd have to be kind of interested in. But that there was, those planets had a conjunction on the 20th. It hasn't happened in 36 years, so it happened in 1989. There were several different symbolic things that happened for society. There was the fall of the Berlin Wall, the dissolution of USSR, of the Soviet Union. And prior to that too, it has happened every 36 years that Saturn and Neptune are conjunct. Previously it was in Pisces, so it gets a little kind of woo here, but now on the 20th, that 36-year rule was kind of, that always stands, but in this case it was at 0 degree Aries. And I'm not going to go too much into that because it won't have much significance. But what is significant is that many astrologers and many astrologists say that that hasn't happened in possibly since the most common answer is in over 4,000, like 4,000 BC, around that age, and prior to that 9,000 years ago. And some have said that it has never happened at 0 degree Aries, and they call it a great reset, a Genesis moment. And it happened 3 days after the eclipse in the southern hemisphere, and that occurred in Aquarius. But aside from all of that, just essentially that what happened on February 20th hasn't happened in thousands of years, or it never has happened, as far as a conjunction goes with Saturn and Neptune. And the symbology of Neptune is dream state and imagination. Essentially, it rules over that. And Saturn is all about order and structure. So you have those two things meeting up. And like I said, that has happened every 36 years, and that just happened. So it's a sort of a once in a lifetime event, a once in a generation event. But with the aspect of the Aries, the 0 degrees, that's like a once in a civilization event. The last time it happened would have been in Neolithic age.
Wow. I wonder, you hear a lot of people talking about like having their dream world is really ramped up lately. I know I know me and James both talked about different
Yeah.
dreams and stuff like that, and I've had some wild, very lucid, possible astral projecting. I don't know. It's been so wild lately, and I wonder if that's one of the reasons behind it, because some of that right there. I wonder. What do you think?
Yeah, I was just thinking too. I just realized this connection possibly is all this recent talk from political figures, much as I don't like them, about the whole
We are
UFO thing.
best friends, James.
Yeah.
Don't lie.
Oh yes, I love them so much. But no, the bringing up of the the bringing up of the whole alien thing, UFO thing. Again, and yeah, then we've talked about yes, it's been brought up over and over and over again. But I mean, now we have recently one former, one current president talking about it. Um, and again, I don't think they care about anything anomalous. They're just using it, like I've been saying over and over again. But still, it's being brought up, and if there is any kind of stuff going on, I wonder. Uh, People are still having experiences, and I'm just curious now: are things picking up? Going back to what we were talking about earlier, are they picking up, or are we just hearing about them more because of technology now and media and all that? And I don't have the answer to that, but it seems like it could be possible either way.
Well, Reagan and Carter, I believe, said they saw UFOs.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened. You never heard any. You heard about it at that minute, and it gets mentioned every once in a while. But you would think if two of the most powerful people on the planet said they saw flying saucers, that somebody would want to know the whole story. You would think that would be like the media event of that year, right?
Yeah.
But
Unless it's being, most people are the people that are in charge. Besides those two presidents are,
yep.
Again, don't talk about that. That stuff is, if you believe in that stuff, you're crazy. That's the narrative that's been put out there so much over the years.
I mean,
Right.
they put a very negative connotation on it for sure. I mean, they anything they wanted to try to cover up, or they've always done that. Especially the last 100 years. We know with the propaganda and stuff that they really put anything they didn't like, they put a negative connotation on it, to the point of like hemp, and it, like our decoration was written on hemp, but the lumber industry pushed for it. And so they demonized it. They demonized all kinds of stuff like that. And I wonder, it's just another situation where and now, like you said, that now they can use it for their gain, and what's going to be the gain at the end. But I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. We'll sure talk about it more on Wednesday for sure when we talk more political in there. But
Well,
uh,
have you guys seen what's going on in Mexico today?
oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, I think
It's
that'll be a good thing for Wednesday's show too. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
Jen
We'll
was.
sure talk about Mexico Wednesday show for sure. All that crazy stuff. Yeah, if y'all haven't seen it, it's wild. Um,
Yeah,
you know, um, George Washington's seen a figure, I'd say,
yeah. I
back in
think
the
Jen
day
was
too.
trying to talk to you, but yeah.
Oh, let it
Oh,
rip, man.
sorry. No, I was thinking, I was going to mention, had you guys heard about Hillary Clinton, in her emails that she was talking about trying to find the tomb of Gilgamesh and wanting updates on had they found the tomb of Gilgamesh or had they found the grave sites or the burial sites of the Nephilim and all of this talk. Have you guys heard about that?
Yeah, they
No.
know they built a base sitting on top of the site that um, they pretty much think that they found the tomb of Gilgamesh. They had
Yeah.
come out. I remember back in the day they right before they went to Iraq, like 2002, 2003, and I remember them talking about it. And
Yeah.
they turned around and was like, "Hey, we found the tomb of Gilgamesh," and they're about to go in there, and they were right there at that point right there, and then all of a sudden, Iraqi Freedom went through there, and they started going through there, and so they had to pull out. But they actually built a base right there where at the site. So
Yeah.
there's it's always been an ancient mythical power, and there's a lot to talk about, trying to bring back Gilgamesh or Nimrod, um, and are they really trying to bring that? Or trying to bring back old, like a deity or a power, or like I don't know, maybe like I don't know how he classified Gilgamesh. Was he like a demigod or what he was? But they're trying to bring that kind of thing back, and they want them kind of stuff because like if you go back like to Hitler, he was trying for, and Himmler was running around looking for all kinds of artifacts, and the spear of destiny and all that type of stuff. They want, and you'd see that and then we even got the United States got involved even, and they want these powers of relics, and they you know don't let them fool you. You know, they get on TV and go ha ha ha, but down in the closed doors, I do believe that they really believe in the power of these things, especially especially these Moloch worshiping some guns that's in there.
Oh, I think that they do. He was buried in under a river, supposedly, and just the interest level of them being there, and not just that, but of many of those wars that they have over there in the Middle East. Sorry, do you have an echo?
It
No.
just came in.
Oh.
Okay,
Huh.
sorry, just making sure. 'Cause I
Yeah,
was-
it just came in for some reason. I don't know what that. I don't
Here,
know.
I'll mute it. But
It's up.
Yeah, you said the Middle East. My ex-wife is from Turkey, and that, of course, raised my awareness about Turkish history and whatever. And there's a place called Tobekli Tepe, I think I can't say it. I'm terrible with foreign languages. But
Yeah, go Pepe Tepe.
yeah, it was accidentally found by a farmer who wanted to pull the stone out so he could plant crops. And he went and he found that this wasn't just a rock. Apparently, this was a structure. And they called in the officials, of course, and they've been digging there, and they thought it was just, let's say, I don't know, I'm going to use numbers here, a 10-acre site. Well, now, through the use of LiDAR and other means, they're saying that this is potentially another whole civilization that goes on and on and on that has no history of. There's no recorded history of anybody in that area that would have built this, and they believe it's like 30,000 years old or something. So those are the kinds of things I think that when you start digging them up, that's where you're going to find stuff, right? And that's why the government, I think, controls so many of those archaeological digs, because they want them to monitor what's truly coming in and out of them, so nobody can just have control over it without their blessing, because they may say, oh well, no, you give that to the public, they're gonna lose confidence in the world order or whatever.
What if Gilgamesh and the people like that, the Nephilim, what if they are located like out beyond that space we're talking about? What if there was some kind of great divide? And many of the mythologies point to this. Now, I'm kind of a folklorist, so I'm really interested in that sort of thing. But the idea that they went underground and the wars that were fought and the conversations about the Neanderthal and many of the other cave-dwelling species. And if you look at some of these structures that are built out of the cave and the bedrock of the earth, they are incredible. Over in Ethiopia, at the Church of Labiela, you have these structures. If you're looking out across the desert, at particularly the Church of Labiela in Ethiopia, you can't see anything. But as you approach this spot in Ethiopia, the ground just drops, down into the bedrock of the earth, and within that space is a equal-armed cross structure that has. Oh, I have to mute. Sorry, my dog's freaking out.
I would say, on the Gopepi Tepe, Uncle Dave, you also got a Kaharahan Tepe. Also, it could be actually maybe predate Gopepi, and it's amazing that they always talk about, well, it's the civilization or written language is only so many years old and blah blah blah. I talked about it a bunch of times. I really am in the Graham Hancock mindset of, we are a people of amnesia, and we have forgotten more. A lot of it's just because we've been conquered. You go through there and you conquer, nations get conquered and their history gets destroyed. The library in Alexandria got burnt down, so there's so much history. The Vatican Library, God only knows what's in there.
Yes, and those tunnel systems connect across, like the one in Ethiopia, and then, well, let's consider this. So the Appalachian mountain range, it connects over into the mountain ranges of Scotland, and from there over into the mountain ranges of Iran. It's all the same mountain range. And there's almost like a land bridge between Canada and those isles of that mountain range there that are now covered mostly in water, but it's a land bridge, kind of like when you go over to Alaska. In Russia, at its closest point, is like a mile or so away between them. Similar to that, but along those mountain ranges, it would explain so much about the passing of lore from one mountain range of folklore to another, and that the people in the Appalachian Mountains, how the stories that they have are so similar, not only to the stories being told in the mountain ranges of the Scottish Highlands, but how they also traverse over into Iran. And the conversations that they have about, if you go over into Iran and some of the deepest underground tunnel systems, and you're talking thousands of miles of tunnel systems and underground cities, so to speak, and underground churches, it's incredible whoever created them. And some people have explained it away as it was wartime, so to speak, and things like that. But these are they're built out of the bedrock. And in some cases, if you go over into Indonesia and into those places, they have in India, with the Vedic belief systems in their lore, that they are built out of all one solid structure of stone. And so, you can kind of strike part of the rock wall and it'll timber across the entire system. And the type of rock that they're working with, and that must be, at least I've always thought so, Neolithic technology. Just this incredible technology and knowledge of stone and magnetism and the powers of it that tells us that there must have been something much more going on in the Neolithic era than we're being told. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this guy, I guess, was doing renovations and This happened in Israel and it happened in Turkey. But the one in Turkey, when the guy was doing some type of renovation, he made a hole in his wall, and he found out there was a tunnel on the other side of the wall. And again, got the authorities involved, and it turns out that this led to an underground system that would have housed up to 20,000 people, they believe. And it was with food storage, water storage, animal pens. I mean, it was like a complete underground city that nobody ever knew of. And I guess there's no written record of it, so they're really not even sure who did it. But what else, in Israel and around Jerusalem and that whole part of the world where we started, I guess we could say, right? What else is in there that somebody's going to stumble across that's going to rewrite history?
Yes, Dave. It makes me think about, they talk about the angels landing, on a certain mountaintop of Hermon and so on and so forth, if they came up out from within rather than from without. And so it would support a great deal of the concept that the earth is like this giant ant mound, but that we are not accessing it. And I don't know, it goes into a lot of the underground bases and those kinds of concepts. But I mean, who knows, as far as what kind of level it is of that
Yeah. And just real quick, because I know we got to get going soon, but I want to point out, isn't Iran and Iraq and all that area, that's where the jinn, it's DGINN,
Yeah.
are supposed to be from? And then you
Mhm.
have in Europe and in Ireland and all those areas, the Fae, Fairy, Little Folk. In the
Yep.
U.S., you have all through the U.S. and I'm sure the Appalachians also reports of little people sightings throughout time.
Hawaii
Isn't it?
Hawaii has their own little
Yeah.
folk. I forget what they're called, but
So isn't it amazing that these areas that are connected by this huge mountain chain all have that same kind of similar kinds of sightings of these other beings all across them?
Yes,
it
I think there's
could be
something to
connected for sure.
And then, of course, science tries to explain it away that, oh, there's no way someone could survive in that environment, whatever. And they said that about back to the bottom of the ocean. There's life in the Mariana Trench and all these other places that they swore there was no way anything would ever live or survive or anything down there. And now, through the technology being able to go that deep, sure enough, life is teeming down there.
There's some creepy looking things down there too. If you,
Oh my
you know,
gosh, they do. Yes.
but yeah, there's
Terrifying.
and it just makes you wonder, and they talk about how much water and stuff is underground. They have a whole underground like ocean.
Yes, a whole
Yeah.
different ocean, basically.
Yeah, and so it makes me wonder, that and it kind of maybe gives some credence to you know inner Earth or Middle Earth or maybe maybe Token was right, kind of thing. We had some. I wonder, like um, maybe they're mole people. They kind of where they don't have to see, kind of thing. They kind of sense or whatever. It's uh, the,
Well, he had access to those grand libraries,
mhm.
and makes you really wonder for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, we don't. About 3 more minutes. We got Trouble Minds Radio. We will be rating as always on Sunday. We're rating Trouble Minds as soon as, so we'll be sending you that way for our great listeners on Rumble. For sure. I guess we can start kind of winding up. Jen, you got anything you want to? Any last words before we head
I want to
over to
apologize for
PMR?
being late.
Hey, at least you're here. It's better than last week.
Yes, and warming up. And so
Yeah.
I will try to get, I understand you can do screen share and things. I've never seen this Riverside. It's actually really hospitable. So I'll try to
Yeah.
figure this out. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's pretty neat, and like you can do a lot with it with the free version of it. If you,
I never
of
heard
course,
of it.
if you actually pay a little extra, whatever, but you always get a little more little tweaks or something like that. But you can multi-stream, um, right off the bat. Like restream and all them. You can only do like one or two or before they start acting a fool. But this one, um, I think you multi-stream on the free package. Like I did, unless they updated it. But I know I started off where you can stream to everybody. Like I streamed to restream, so I can stream to two more. Then I'm on YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, and then Substack. We're on Substack today,
Yeah, it works really well. I
and
just
so it works.
appreciate you having me, Ricky and
Yeah,
James.
yeah. I'm
I
glad
really
you're able to
enjoyed
make
it.
it. And like I
Thank
said,
you.
anytime you want to come back, it's always an honor to have you on here and talk.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
Feeling
Uncle Dave, I appreciate you being here too. I appreciate adding your wealth of knowledge and
Oh, you're welcome. But I feel like I'm talking too much. But this is the highlight of my week now. So
that's part of the of a live stream talk show here. He's supposed to talk.
yeah, I don't know if I have a sad life or if that's a good thing that this is the highlight of my week.
Oh no, I appreciate it. I'm glad you came on a while back, and did that first one, and now that you're coming back, and I'm glad this is the highlight. This is for sure fun, and it's always an honor to talk to everybody. And
Oh, and I'm learning so much. I mean, Jennifer and James have bombarded me this evening alone with so much information that I'm writing it down because I have to go look it up because I have no idea what they were talking about.
that's good. That's what I do a lot of times. I'll be listening to something, and I'll for real. I like I said on the text message to you the other day. I was like, I gotta go look it up myself. But that's the fun part, you get to learn and gain new knowledge and just new ideas, and it's part of it. You just keep on learning, keep on keeping on.
Okay, we'll talk on the next one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. James, you got any final words?
Just special thanks as always to you, Ricky, for having me on. Also, so glad that Jen, you were able to make it on as well. And for anyone that doesn't know, I do my podcast, Salsido Paranormal, and I talk all things anomalous, all things weird. And Jen is the co-host of the show on Saturdays whenever she's able to make it. So if y'all check out Discord, that's where I record. You can listen live, or you can just find all the episodes on all the places, especially salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. You can hear all the episodes there. I definitely recommend the ones where I'm joined by Jen because she always makes it so much better. And yeah, you can find all the episodes there and links to everything else that I do and ways to support the show. So thank you, Ricky, and everyone have a great night.
I appreciate y'all. Yeah, we got remember tomorrow we got a special lunch show. We got Matt Harvey of Deep Woods Paranormal going to be here, and of course James will be here.
Yes.
And tomorrow at 2:00 Central Time, 2 p.m. Central Time. So check it out. I'm not sure how long we'll go. Anything is possible. We might go an hour. We might go two.
Break that record,
I won't
Ricky?
be able.
No.
I gotta go teach kids. So I gotta be there class starts at 5:30, so I gotta get there a little earlier than that. So probably at the limit we'll probably do 2 hours, but or interfere with my little kids, and there'll be a bunch of kids tearing my gym apart with me not there. So but it'll be all right. So again, I appreciate all y'all being here. It's gonna be, as always, it's always an honor, and like I said, it's gonna be fun. Rumble chat, like I said, we'll be heading over there to Trouble Minds in just a second, and we're gonna have some fun over there. Check out the links in the description. I got lots of friends of the show in description. I gotta add some more. Just gotta get time. I've been busy person last little bit. But if you want to be part of the friends of the show and want your link, you want to be associated to the show, and y'all just let me know. You can send me an email. The good email should be in the description. I think I fixed it finally where it actually does it. Appreciate it, Merlin. Appreciate it, Theo. Birdhouse Blues. Thank you, Indy. Huckleberry, Daryl, Spark. Appreciate y'all. Anybody? I don't know. Wally's World. Anybody I missed? Let's make sure. I like saying some of the people, but let me hit this outro music, and we'll get out of here. Much love, everybody, and everybody's favorite song.
Shackles, don't want no shackles on me. Don't want no shackles, don't want no shackles on me. I sit down with Big Brother, don't like those RFIDs. Got the blues about my freedom. Got the blues about tyranny. I got the blues about my freedom. Got the blues about tyranny. I sat down with Big Brother and the national ID. Don't want a chip in my wallet, chip in my car. And if I want to travel, it's nobody's business how far. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I said shame on Big Brother, always tracking and tracing me. Don't want a chip in my mother, chip in my wife, a chip in my babies. Stay out of our life. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I sat down with Big Brother. No more slavery. Play it for me, baby. Now, do you want a chip in your forehead, a chip in your arm, always tweaking your brain and causing you harm? Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I sat down with Big Brother in the good old USA. I sat down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother. Don't want a spy chip in me. Everybody, I sat down with Big Brother, Down with Big Brother. Down with Big Brother. Down with Big Brother. Down with Big Brother. It's all about liberty.